Along with individual experts, Surgeon Masters brings you life improvement strategies in 10 minutes. These proven principles and strategies are easy to learn and can be applied immediately, allowing you to practice your best. Here's your host, Jeff Smith.
On this episode of the Surgeon Masters mini podcast, I have with me pediatrician, startup founder, people connector, Dr. Zhen Chan. Welcome, Zhen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Zhen, so you've, besides going to medical school and becoming a pediatrician, you have an additional degree behind your name that I believe it's MBA. You seem like a really young MBA for a lot of the physicians I know.
Yeah, the inspiration came from a couple different places, but the main one was my first rotation was in general surgery. And I remember during a one-on-one, I found out that the chair was going back to get his MBA, or in the act of getting his executive MBA. And I asked why, and it was, moving up that healthcare leadership ladder. And I started noticing that was a trend. There were other attendings I was working with that also were doing the same or getting some form of healthcare leadership certification. And I had always been very much involved in extracurricular leadership while I was in high school, undergrad, and in med school as well. And I wanted health administration to kind of be a window that was open for me in the future. So our school, I was at the University of Miami. There was a dual degree offered, and it was just going to be 1 year full-time, focused on health management and policy, scholarship involved, all these kinds of things. And to be honest, it was going to happen after third year of med school, which I was like more than happy to go to business school for a year after that. So I was like, let me take advantage of this opportunity and make sure I keep this window open while I'm still a full-time student.
Well, that's fantastic. And so business, leadership, what it really sounds like it boils down to is doing something that you're passionate about. So tell us what you're passionate about these days.
Yeah, it's solving large pain points for physicians, patients, really the healthcare industry. There was a bit of soul searching that happened during residency when I started realizing I was very passionate about the quality improvement and advocacy projects that I was working on. And it felt like if these projects were successful, there was a scalable, broader impact that could be made. And so I really took it upon myself to meet people, network outside of those that were just practicing clinical medicine, that were working on healthcare, what I would say is the back end of healthcare, and just learn what everybody was doing. And that sort of led me to this road of going into a venture capital fellowship, meeting founders of early stage startups who are all super mission driven to find sustainable solutions for healthcare. And then I said, I actually wanted to be on that side of things. And I felt like I could translate the work I was doing in QI and in advocacy to the business of medicine. And that's where I'm at today. It's to hopefully solve at least maybe one problem at a time for physicians and patients.
And what's one of the things that you've recognized is maybe a gap or an opportunity for people to do something different or improve their lives?
For physicians, we go through med school, we go through residency, and we are always the education and training process was very focused on the clinical aspect. But practicing in the modern day healthcare system requires at least some baseline knowledge of a lot of other things. A little bit about healthcare operations, a little bit about informatics, a little bit about management. Definitely need to know some basics about insurance and how that payment comes into play and affects our patient care. And that's missing. That's not standardized in our training. And so finding ways to get coverage for that gap of knowledge, get educated, finding ways to get our community tighter knit and be able to network with each other. I think if we are able to successfully tackle some of these little pieces that everybody else in other industries does so well, we can then make more informed decisions about our own careers or about our own professional development, and also be able to provide better care for our patients.
So it sounds like you, through your knowledge of improving things, creating a system and a solution, it sounds like this network concept is something that you have some ideas and thoughts for.
Yeah. So that's kind of what led me to what I'm building now, which is called Grapevine. And that's Grapevine spelled with a Y. But the idea behind it comes from, I heard it through the grapevine, right? It's peer-to-peer sharing of information and connections. one of the big things that a lot of physicians have pain points in is the job search process. It's making sure you have the right information to make the best choice possible for your next career move. And oftentimes right now, the only places we go to for our job search are the medical society job boards, maybe Indeed. You're Googling these jobs. You're getting 1,000,001 spam texts from recruiters, often for irrelevant jobs to you. And so at Grapevine, we basically said, why not make this a peer-to-peer process, and let's actually craft the job post to be transparent and detailed with what we truly value. And so not only when you see a post, it has the things that doctors care about. It has salary up front. It has location up front. It's not going to tell you we're in a beautiful location 4 hours away from the beach with a competitive salary, and that's it. And then the sourcing is actually going to come from someone you already know. And this job piece is only one fraction of what the grand vision of Grapevine is. And we actually now want to work more on that grand vision, which is truly to provide a digital community where physicians can come to and get, I would say, the most passive way, or let's call it, you don't need to do as much legwork to get the networking that will help you, to get the information that will help you. You can create a user profile. You can just be a member of Grapevine, and then let us curate everything for you in the form of recommended networking, recommended resources that are pertinent to your clinical and non-clinical, professional and personal needs and interests, and maybe even education and courses that can support you throughout the way. I would love, right, ideally, if Grapevine became a platform that right now it's actually pretty opportune. We're in match week. Like, you match into residency and then you sign up for Grapevine. And Grapevine is that companion platform that will provide you a complementary, let's say, curriculum or networking platform to your core residency training and everything. So that when you're done with residency and you're coming out to take that first job, you're already one step ahead of everybody else. And it will continue to support you as you're making continued transitions throughout the rest of your career.
Fantastic. So obviously, one way of practicing networking or getting into expanding your network would be through Grapevine. What do you see as also like the message to anyone and everyone looking at the concept of networking?
I think for physicians, a lot of times we feel we are very busy people, but oftentimes we do have some time to be able to reach out to someone. And there's a little bit of that, I don't want to bother somebody, or I may be too anxious to reach out to someone. But a lot of times what the person on the other side is experiencing is they want to provide their help. They want to provide their expertise or their mentorship. And everybody kind of wants to have that human connection. So I think one thing that people should do a little bit more, or at least start with, is reach out to like one other physician, whether that's because you think that they have the same research interests as you, or they're working on something entrepreneurial that you're fascinated by, or that they're just, further along the career path in your specialty. And you're just like, I just want some advice. I just want to broaden my network and have more connections and community. Reach out to one person and then start there, and then just keep making networking a part of your life. And that way the world gets a lot smaller. And then when you're looking for new opportunities, whether that's a job or a collaboration in research or whatever it is, you have people that you can tap into and connect with.
So well delivered. I almost wasn't going to ask you to give us the short version, but go ahead and give us a retake of the key message that you want our listeners to have.
Yeah. Make networking a part of your life. That is kind of the bare bones way I can say it. Community is very important as we are in this sort of digital age of everything's online, everything's remote. We don't want to lose that ability to connect with each other. So make networking a daily practice or a weekly, quarterly practice, whatever cadence you want.
Awesome. Thank you, Zhen. There you have it in less than 10 minutes. This is Jeff Smith along with Dr. Zhen Chan. Until the next episode of Life Improvement Strategies for the Surgeon and Once More. Ciao.
Now, take 10 minutes and put your plan into action to practice your best.